You're telling me that the king of a third world country runs around in a bulletproof catsuit? Why don't you ask him yourself? Because he's right outside. Bingo.
My king.
Stop it.
The Black Panther lives.
A war is coming.
That's damn calm.
Watch me do my
I hope you're ready, bro.
Because I'm just getting started.
Let's have some fun.
You show off.
They don't wanna see me get into the check. They just wanna see me swimming in the pool. Don't drown on ground with it to your head. They don't want one free swim.
I want your weapons.
How you wanna play?
Your secrets.
Ops on the radar.
It's all mine now. Is this your king? This ends today.
Face, Scarface, your face, more defeat. I know it hurts.
Get tickets now.
CryptoEntertainment allergy season is kicking in, so forgive me. I'm a little bit congested still. Doped up off of Claritin D, so I should be able to make it through this broadcast. But anyway, I do want to talk to you about some developments coming to the channel. I'm going to break up my channel into different categories where I'm going to address or try to tie in something cryptocurrency related to the areas of, entertainment, politics, sports, and just investment in general. I want to kind of diversify, so I'm not just another, cryptocurrency enthusiast just talking about, their favorite coin that's going up and down. I want to have something specific and something focused. So today, I want to talk about, entertainment. It's Friday, so I think Friday should be a great time for entertainment. And specifically, I want to focus on Black Panther, which I saw last night. It was a great film, beautifully done by Marvel, as far as its technical accomplishments. And the script was, kind of heavy-handed sometimes, but overall it was fairly decent. It's the first time we've seen this kind of blockbuster treatment given to a film before. Yes, I know we can talk about Spawn and we can talk about Blade and whatnot, but this is the first time where Hollywood has put, millions of dollars behind a franchise and is promoting it the way that they are. And so I'm very, very proud that Marvel Studios and Disney took this step in order to give us a beautiful insight into the African diaspora. However, I do feel that there are some issues that are going to arise culturally from this film. I'm not talking, or I'm not ripping on those individuals who came out cosplaying and whatnot. All power to you. Like, as a matter of fact, I really, really was happy to see individuals dressed up with their Black Panther T-shirts and their dashikis and all of their African themed garb. I think this is cool. I think it's supposed to be an event that is supposed to be celebrated on the level of a Star Wars or the level of the Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter even. So I'm kind of happy that this is actually doing something for the culture. But I do feel like there is a divisive element to the film that exists, and this is not just me, shucking and jiving and cooning, because I've seen people online talk about or rip, people, a new one just for saying this. But yeah, it's really, really black, like really black, not and unapologetically black, but that's fine. We don't have that many films that do that. However, how that pro-blackness is portrayed could be interpreted a variety of ways. I feel like there's going to be a couple different people who walk out of this film. Some people are going to walk out and say, "Yo, this is amazing. It's putting us on Main Street. It's making it so, you know, we're viewed in a more palatable and acceptable light. So, you know, we should be able to see more individuals of color in films, blockbuster films like this. So, yeah, it's great in that regard. But I do feel there's some people who are going to leave feeling ostracized, feeling like, you know, this does not represent any kind of film or movement. This does not represent any kind of movement toward, you know, unity and whatnot. Pretty much, you know, without overtly saying it, you know, there were certain lines that were drawn in the film culturally. Spoilers ahead for those people who don't already know. I mean, if you already saw the trailer, I'm going to show the trailer. I showed the trailer before, you know, we even began this, but yeah, you know, so this takes place in a isolated African country, fictitious African country called, you know, Wakanda. Wakanda is technologically, you know, superior to most of the developed world, thanks to access to a special material, fictitious material that came on an asteroid called vibranium, and vibranium basically gives them all these technological, you know, advancements and powers. It pretty much powers their culture. So naturally, you know, everybody, you know, in the Marvel universe wants it, and it's a centerpiece, you know, for this conflict. But Wakanda has stayed out of, you know, out of the public view since its creation. They've operated in secrecy, and so, you know, they've been on the sidelines during a bunch of, you know, historical events, World War II, you know, the transatlantic slave trade, all that. Wakanda just basically stayed isolated. Okay, so that's the premise, you know, or part of the premise, you know, setting it up without really spoiling it that much for you. That stuff has pretty much been out there, so that's what I really feel guilty about, you know, talking about it. But I do want to focus on that concept of, you know, isolation in regard to this video and how this ties into cryptocurrency, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to basically fold what's going on in the world into, you know, easily digestible and understandable relationships with, you know, what's going on in the cryptocurrency world. And so Wakanda's isolated itself and created its own community, own currency, you know, among different tribes and whatnot. And so they don't ever have to deal outside of their country. And so they've been, you know, pretty isolated. And a lot of people will take away from this film, like, you know, why can't we do this? We should have a Wakanda right now. We should set up a Wakanda, you know, we should have a Wakanda coin and set up, you know, a whole other state or country and do our own thing. You know, there's gonna be a lot of people leaving the theater, you know, empowered like that and whatnot. And like I said, this movie was unapologetically black. They talk a lot about, you know, the conflicts between, you know, African isolation versus, you know, diplomacy and democracy in regard to the African diaspora across the globe. Those people who know me know that I've talked extensively about, you know, the concept of race and race relations, and, you know, I feel like this film is divisive, you know, in that regard. That's the only issue. The big issue that I saw was that it really separated this fictitious culture and African culture in general in this compartmentalized, you know, these are, you know, the Africans, and then, you know, everyone outside is considered, you know, the other. And so while some people will celebrate that, I think a good majority of individuals will try to find difficulty in keying into or grasping what is going on socially and some of these social concepts that are being discussed in the film. Individuals are talking about, you know, isolation and autonomy and freedom for the rest of the world. But, you know, if I am the descendant of Africa and I'm half black, half white, or whatever, where does my allegiance lie? That's what they really didn't. They really didn't engage and discuss, you know, the fact that, you know, things aren't literally, pun intended, black and white, you know, anymore around the globe. And that brings me back to, you know, the cryptocurrency So I do champion the idea that, you know, there is a way for us. We are building, you know, a Wakanda, if you will, now by going into cryptocurrency. We are investing in technologies, investing in businesses, and creating systems of currency exchange that exist outside of the contemporary fiat government backed, you know, currency system all over the world. And so this gives us, you know, financial autonomy and financial freedom. But the question is, like, you know, what are we going to do with that? What are we trying to do with that? Are we trying to basically empower ourselves? Are we trying to selfishly control this currency, you know, for the betterment of a small select group of people? And that way, you know, we become just like those individuals who are, you know, our oppressors. We are sitting here saying, you know, we have a certain amount of exclusivity and separation from those around us that we need to reinforce, some walls that we need to put up. And so, you know, there's an opportunity for growth in cryptocurrency. There's an opportunity to invest in education, science, technology, math, from, you know, grade school level children to, you know, creating our own freaking space station at some point in the future. But I do think that we need to look at it from a focused perspective, an altruistic perspective, and an inclusive perspective, that, you know, I don't feel a lot of people who are getting into this space are considering, you know, the entire time. I do feel like there's a slow adoption among people of color, but in a lot of the chat rooms I've experienced, a lot of, you know, the discussions I've experienced with people of color, you know, there is this underlying need or push toward, you know, trying to find a way to get away from the man, get away from the system, get away from the white people, get away from, you know, whatever, you know, build our own thing or whatever. And I'm not knocking that, you know. I really do believe that the plight of black people is also distinctly tied to the plight of poor people. But I don't feel like we need to be reinforcing, you know, the old labels, if you will. That's the problem. That's what I'm taking away from Black Panther is, yeah, you know, it's a great film, technologically superior to any other film, comic book film featuring, you know, a primarily black cast. It really did credit to the culture. However, I do feel like, you know, there are parts that were extremely, you know, divisive, and, you know, I'm willing to talk more about them, you know, later on, because I don't want to give out too many spoilers. But, you know, certain things that, you know, were said, certain concepts that were presented, you know, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I want you to go see the movie. It was a great movie. I want to start doing Q&As at the beginning of these shows until I can get up to the status where I'm doing live shows. You know, I want to do some quick Q&As and answer some questions and give you some feedback as to, you know, what I thought, you know, about your thoughts from the previous show, so I can kind of include you. But yeah, you know, go check out the movie. Let's talk about it on Monday. And, you know, until then, I want you to, you know, respect the tech.